Hey everyone, welcome to the One Stop Wrestling YouTube channel once again. As always, I am Craig, and as always, I am joined by my co-host Alfonso. And today we have an extremely special guest. We, in fact, have the brand new Black Label Pro Wrestling World Champion as of last night, Billie Free Belts Starkz. Billie, how are you doing?
I'm doing really, really good. Just very, very busy as ever.
How does that make you feel that you're now Billie Free Belts?
Very, very happy, and I hope to make it 4 in the next coming of weeks. I'm challenging for the Princess of Princesses Championship in Japan, and I hope to bring it back home to America.
How is your
You know,
Japanese, Billy? How is your Japanese? Are you ready for the trip? I know that you
Um,
study Japanese in school, but are you ready? Are you confident with your Japanese?
I'm confident in most of it, like simple, and
Okay.
I can read very well. It's just speaking. Struggle speaking English, so speaking a different language, I struggle with. But I feel like I will be comfortable, because I have talked to like Mayu and Maki when they were over here in the States in Japanese just a little bit, and they would correct me if I'm like just off. I was like, oh, my bad, thank you.
I think speaking a second language, because I speak a second language, because English is my second language. I think it's difficult always, but you need to let out the nerves. Just speak it, and if you make a mistake, it doesn't matter because you're trying. So that's important.
It was like everybody is just like, it's okay. I was like, I feel so stupid most of the time where I'm like, I thought this is what I was saying, but I said something completely different.
obviously, Billie, you're facing Yuka Sakazaki at the end of the month in TJPW. How did that opportunity come around for you?
Um, Honestly, it was very unexpected. I was in complete shock when it happened. I was scrolling through my emails, and I saw the TJPW email, and I was like, "Oh, this is fake." It's just like one of those spam emails because I've gotten like the fake, like, "Oh, here's your WWE tryout," and I was like, "Haha, you're funny." And then I opened that email, and I was gonna like screenshot it, and was like, "Oh, my wildest dreams," and then I started reading it, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is real." Um,
Wow.
it was crazy. And I'm still in shock. I was like, I don't believe this is happening until I'm there.
I think your career has been amazing for a lot of things. We're going to talk a little bit about everything you have done so far, but I think you're moving so much fast than a lot of stars, and you're so young, and you have still a lot of career going on. And I think that is amazing because I think every day there's something new with Billie Starkz. And I think like last night you won a title, and it took me by surprise. It was like, really? And I think that's something great because you are a unique wrestler and you're doing a lot of things. And I think being an independent wrestler is important to move around and do whatever kind of match comes your way. And I think that's awesome. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. I always just want to keep evolving and like keeping people on their toes. I was like, I'm always here for like the surprise factor. I love when I can just shock people in the ring. And I was like, this is like my favorite part of wrestling is just people's reactions.
So you are at the beginning of your career, but you've accomplished so much. And I've got a list here of some of the biggest names you've fought in the independent scene and some unsigned wrestlers, which seems crazy. I mean, I actually had to make a list for this. I mean, at the moment it stands Ali Catch, Shazza McKenzie, Mike Bailey, Crispy, Killer Kelly, Tom Waller, Ricky Morton, Maki Ito. I mean,
Ruby
oh,
Soho, Cora Jade. I mean, the list go on. Nick Wayne, and you're facing Deepen before you go to Japan. I think, right?
No, after I come back.
After you come back. Okay, okay, okay.
How
Yeah,
lucky do you
it's
feel to be in a situation where someone who is young as yourself has such an amazing resume already?
um it's crazy to me because my life has moved so fast. And I never expected so many opportunities to come so quickly. And I'm completely grateful for them. Um, and I feel like it's just made my life like chaos, but like I live in chaos, so this is my normal. Everybody else is looking in and like, oh, this is crazy. And I'm like, oh, this is my normal. Like, let's keep going, guys. um, and I just hope it keeps like growing and growing. I was like, I've already accomplished so much, and I was like, there's still so much for me to do in wrestling. And now I'm living my wildest dreams at 17 and traveling across seas to go wrestle, but I can still go to Australia or the UK. And I was like, there's still so many
Yes.
more opportunities that I have to like try and do. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited about this stuff.
So what's the next
Obviously,
step for Billy? What's the next step for Billy? Billy's still going to go all around the world, going to Mexico, going to Australia, going to the UK, or are you pointing towards a WWE tryout or something like a?
Um, Honestly, I just want to see where life takes me if those opportunities do arise. I will see what's like best for me at the time because I still am in school and I'm trying to manage wrestling with school. I've made a promise that I was like, I will finish school and go to college. I've already decided that I'm doing college online so I can continue traveling with wrestling. Um, and honestly, I just want to make a living off this. If I can move out like the day I turn 18 because I'm making enough money off of wrestling, that would literally be like, oh my God, okay, this is working. I'm killing it.
No, I think it's crazy just to think that maybe you're doing a math quiz one day and the next day you're having a death match. I, that for me is crazy. Like I don't imagine yourself like studying for exam on Friday, knowing that you're going to have a death match on Saturday or something like that. And right now you're traveling to Japan at 17.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I literally took a math test like on Friday before I left for shows for the weekend. And I was like, whoa, I did really good on this test. And then I was like, okay, now I go wrestle.
that's amazing. Obviously, at the moment, you're known to a lot of fans for being a pioneer. Well, not a pioneer, so strong word to use, but for intergender wrestling. You've fought like a lot of men, and is that something you always wanted to do in professional wrestling from the get go? Was to do this kind of stuff?
Yes, I've always been a very big advocate for intergender wrestling because me as a wrestler, I feel like I learn and I grow so much faster when I get to wrestle new talent. And wrestling women on the independents, it's kind of limited. It's hard to find independent women. And I was like, the variety of guys is so much more. And I was like, the more matchups I have with different people, I'm learning from different brains
Yeah.
on like, oh, okay, this is how you think about wrestling. What can I take from you so I can make my wrestling even better? And I always just find it fun. It's like a new matchup and it's something different. I was like, I don't understand that the divide people try to have between men and women's wrestling because at the end of the day, we're all wrestlers. We're here as competitors. And I was like, it's no different than the girls soccer team versus the boys soccer team. Like my school does that stuff all the time just for like, oh, let's get people hyped up about our games. Here's the pep rally. And I was like, I just find it no different than that. I was like, any other sport. I was like, I don't understand why we divide certain sports. I was like, let people just enjoy the thing we love together.
So obviously, intergender wrestling isn't for everybody. It does have its critics from people like Jim Cornette. What do you say to people like Jim Cornette who try to tear down certain aspects of professional wrestling?
I look at it as it's no different than Rey Mysterio wrestling the Big Show. I was like, anything is possible in wrestling, and you should let all opportunities grow and blossom. Will every intergender match be the best match ever? No, because no match is going to be perfect. Everybody has their own opinions on wrestling, and that's okay. I was like, I'm going to have my opinions on wrestling and what I enjoy, and you're going to completely like something different. I love backyard wrestling, and most people think I'm crazy for that, but it's what I find entertaining. And I was like, it's all about what you find entertaining. And I hope as a wrestler, even in an intergender match, you're going to find my match entertaining because you like me as a performer.
Yeah,
I think answer.
I think that's a perfect answer, because when you see wrestling as a whole, there is something for everybody. Like, you can have a comedy match and enjoy it. You can have like a death match and be like, "Fuck, this is not for me." But maybe you love to see gory stuff. You love to see the blood. You love to see a death match because you love that stuff. And I think everybody has something in there. And I think it's important as you as a wrestler to choose your path and follow it. Doesn't matter what people think or talk, or Jim Cornette for that matter.
Yeah. I was like, I will let this man have his opinion. Doesn't mean I will truly believe everything he's saying, but sometimes I'll be like, oh, you made a point. I'll let you have it. And then other times I'm like, okay, it's another crazy old man talking. I was like, but my father to myself, literally, I'm like, oh, that's a crazy old man talking sometimes.
No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I watch wrestling now, and I see people. Impact Wrestling does a fantastic job with intergender wrestling. In the likes of Killer Kelly at the moment, I don't think anybody's going to mess with him, male or female wise. And as you're saying, is every wrestling match going to be great? No, but it's going to be liked by someone, and it's all wrestling is an industry that everybody can find something to enjoy. Unfortunately, with social media, sometimes it kind of tears down those walls and enjoyment for everybody.
Yeah, I like get frustrated with social media sometimes, but other times I'm like, I don't need to look at all this bad stuff. I was like, I can ignore you and I'm going to step away. I was like, this is your opinion. I will respect it, but I don't agree. Just don't involve myself in the drama, because I was like, it's not worth my time and energy to try to change somebody's mind. I was like, I'm not going to do this for you.
Exactly. You're not wrestling for them. You're wrestling for you. And if people like it, it's good.
Yes.
How important do you consider social media to an independent wrestler at the moment to get your name out there? Because as you say, it can be very toxic.
Is so important. I think social media honestly was part of like the reason that I was able to grow so quickly. Not that I was like posting anything crazy. It was just like, oh, these are the shows I'm at this weekend. Hey, this is what I'm doing for wrestling. Or like, oh, look, here's my cute bunny. But people love to have interactions with people. And I was like, you become so connected through social media. And that's how like I connected with so many different people was, oh, I saw your face on Twitter one time and I'm going to be like, oh, let me comment, be like, oh, I like this. And then you made a whole new connection and they know people and you know people. And then also social media has been where I've gotten a lot of my like wrestling bookings is like, oh, a promoter will message me on social media and I'll be like, oh, hi, let me figure out this booking stuff with you. And I was like, social media is so important to a wrestler because it gets you so connected with the community. It's hard when you are in like a local area. Social media opens you up to a whole different world because there's so many people on it. I was like, you just need to know who's doing what and like who to interact with.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Because obviously, when you first started your career, it's a very similar kind of path to like someone who like Kid Bandit, where you just explore naturally and you kind of get that brand new audience that drives it into like these local promotions. So a promotion you might never watch, but you see someone like yourself on social media, it gives you and the promotions new fans. So it's like I couldn't agree more with you.
I was like, honestly, I found out about so much wrestling on social media because I see somebody else at a show and they're posting their stuff, and I'm like, oh, what's this show? This looks interesting. And then I'll do more research on this, and I'm like, oh, this actually looks really cool. I would like to go do this.
I want to know something. The nickname Space Jesus comes
Yeah.
from social media, or where does it come from?
So it comes from like an inside joke.
Okay.
It's actually a pretty funny story. Space Jesus actually comes from this crazy guy that I've never met, but my friends have met through wrestling. He showed up to a Jimmy Jacobs seminar, and he like walked in with a leather vest and like had a freaking wrist tape on, and it's like before the show or anything. This man is just already in gimmick, ready to go. And Jimmy Jacobs is going around and is like, "Oh, what's your character? What's your character? What's your character?" And he gets to that guy, and the guy was like, "Oh, I'm a street fighter." And he was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool, but like, you need something more unique." And he was like, "This will explain it all." And he like took off his jacket, took off his shirt, and it under was like a alien Jesus walking across water, tattooed on his chest. So
Tattooed on
me and
his
my
chest?
friends
Like,
nicknamed him Space Jesus as a joke.
So
insane.
so your nickname is based on a tattoo of a crazy guy who has a tattoo of Jesus walking on water, but he's an alien Jesus.
Yes.
That may
And
be the
I
most
was like, a
incredible thing
couple
I've
weeks
heard.
after that, we like joked around and was like, "Oh, who wants to be announced as Space Jesus tonight?" And I was like, "Oh, me." And it ended up happening, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of funny. I'm gonna keep it." Then I evolved it into my own thing.
That's
You need
amazing.
to
Like,
have a tattoo now from a space Jesus on your body. You need to do like a little tattoo of a space Jesus and just have it with you.
I should. It would be hilarious.
No,
That's
you
gonna be
should
my
get
first tattoo when I turn 18 is Alien Jesus.
no, you should get a guy in a vest with with the tattoo on.
Yes, yes.
Oh
Homage
man!
to the OG Space Jesus who I stole it from.
But my true question is: if you win the Princess of the Princess Championship, are you going to become the Princess Jesus or the Space Princess?
Space Princess has a
Okay.
better ring to it.
I feel like I could become a comic.
Yes, I agree.
The Adventures of Billie Starkz, Space Princess.
Yeah.
I think we can sell that to DC or at least Image.
They would probably love it.
They don't have much going on these days. I think we'll take it. So you touched on like how you research promotions and companies and that, and obviously you're going to Japan in a few days. Are you doing research, watching old matches, doing anything to help with your trip to JPW?
I've definitely watched a lot of Yuka's matches, trying to come up like prepared. I'm like, okay, sorry, I got a phone call.
That's okay.
But I'm preparing myself in that way, and then I'm also doing a lot of just research on Japan so I don't get lost. I'm like, let me know the area I'm in so I know where I'm going. And luckily, I think I have a lot of people taking care of me and guiding me where I should go in Japan. And I've also talked to like Willow and stuff, and she was like, "Oh, just so you know, like me from American going to Japan and working with the women here at TJPW, this is what my experience has been like." And I was like, "Oh, thank you so much." And I was like, I feel like that definitely made me more comfortable because I was like, okay, I'm not going in completely blind.
No, that's
Okay.
cool.
We're going to test Billy Japanese because we want you to say something in Japanese for us. You need to say One Stop Wrestling is the best podcast ever in Japanese.
Oh, I can say I like One Stop Wrestling.
Okay, say it. Okay, say that.
One Stop Wrestling, ski desu ka or ski des.
Yes. One Stop
but-
Wrestling Ski Desk. Okay. I think that's great. I think that we can have that a banner when we're talking about Japanese wrestling. We just have like you pop up and go, One Stop Wrestling
Ski desk.
Ski Desk. I think that's great.
Definitely something we're going to use. So this is a part of the interview where we kind of put you on the spot and we let fans get to know you a little bit better and how you became a fan of the industry and what you actually like and don't like in the world of professional wrestling. So I've got some quick fire questions. So the first question is, what was the first wrestling show you ever watched on TV?
WWE. I don't remember the exact thing. And it was what my dad introduced me to. And I think at the time it was like just Raws. But like the first like independent wrestling show I saw live was a D1W show. And it was definitely very, very interesting. I don't know if I remember all of it because I was so young. I'm still so young, but like in my tiny brain, I can't retain all of it. I just remember having a great time and my brother getting bullied by the wrestlers.
That's amazing.
Which was your favorite wrestler when you were a child, when you were younger?
Quote unquote. I was a big fan of like Bailey and Finn Balor when they were like in NXT because that's what I like really, really connected to when I first started watching wrestling. And then when I started going to independent wrestling more, I became a huge fan of Necro Butcher. Because
Different,
I
bit
just
of a difference.
throwing trash cans across like Colgate Gym, and I was like, "Oh my god, I love the chaos."
Okay, so you went from Bailey hugging people to the Necro Butcher.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, that is amazing. So, next question is your all-time favorite wrestling entrance theme song.
Ooh. I love people's music. I mean, different people have different vibes. But I love Finn Balor's like entrance music because I just remember like listening to it and like crawling down the steps. But for like a hype song, like where I get so excited is definitely Effie's music. I always just pop every time I hear it and I'll start singing along. And I was like, oh, I love this. He has literally found the perfect thing for him.
But right now you have to mimic the Finn Balor's entrance.
Oh, I'm not doing that right now.
So, next question. All-time favorite wrestling video game, if you played them.
Yes, it was the SmackDown one. Oh my God, I don't remember the name. I was playing it like a couple of months ago at a Georgia show, Action, and they brought like a video game system, and I remember just loving it because I
No
had
Mercy?
no, it might have been No Mercy. I remember what the CD disc and like everything looks like. I just can't remember the name of it. I just remember playing as like Fit Finley at one point on it. I was like, "This is great."
It's 2008.
Yeah,
I think it's 2008, if I remember correctly. Like it was one of the only games that had Finley in it.
yeah, that sounds right because people were talking about that, and I was like, "I don't care. This is great."
Finley should be in more wrestling games. I love Finley.
He's a phenomenal wrestler.
So good, so underrated. He's amazing. I grew up watching the likes of WCW Nitro because I'm old, unlike yourself. And then obviously he had an incredible run towards the end of his career in WWE. Yeah, one of the all-time greats from the UK and Ireland. Nothing but respect for Finley. So it makes me happy you like Finley too.
My next question is your top 3 dream matches for you on 2023 that you want to have.
Millie McKenzie is still number one. She's like my number one that I've wanted for so long. Who else do I want to wrestle?
You can say whoever you want. Doesn't matter the promotion. Doesn't matter.
I want round 3 with Nick Wayne. And then I want to wrestle Charlie Evans.
Oof.
I was like, it's been too long, and I was like, I want her to come back to the States. She disappeared to her down under too long. I was like, come back. I've missed her.
I will definitely pay a ticket to watch you wrestle Millie McKenzie. She's one of my favourites on the UK scene. I actually got to see her wrestle in person a couple of weeks ago when she made her return to Progress Wrestling, which was really cool because she done it in Birmingham, and she is from like the Birmingham area. And that pop she got was phenomenal. So if you decide you're going to come over to the UK and fight Millie McKenzie, I will buy a ticket for that.
That is one of my dream matches. I really can't wait for the day I wrestle that woman. My fingers are crossed.
You will
I feel
get
that
to
could
it.
be like an epic 10-year feud. You could have, you're both young enough that this could be the modern day John Cena, Randy Orton feud. We need in independent wrestling.
I would love it.
Right. So next question, and this is really going to put you on the spot because you can only pick one. Would you rather have your own action figure or appear in a wrestling video game?
Video game.
Video game.
I was like, action figures are cool, but like I'm a bigger fan of video games because I'm a video game nerd. So I was like, I'll definitely go video game.
Then my next question for you is, what's your favorite video game? What do you like to play?
I love playing Call of Duty. And I was playing Black Ops the other day with my brother, and it was a lot of fun. And I also love like Dead by Daylight, which is like the horror.
Ooh, amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I was like, I stuck as killer, but I love being survivor and trying to get the generators and everything.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a great game. I think Dead by Daylight is amazing. It's amazing.
I have so much fun with it. I just hate like how long stuff takes to load sometimes. I'm like, I'm impatient. Get me in game right now.
No, but it's because it's real. You have to like struggle a little bit.
So this has been amazing. We want to say thank you so much for coming on. We're going to let you get away now because we know how busy you are with your packing. We can't wait to see you wrestle in Japan. But just before you go, how can fans watch you wrestle in Japan?
It's on the network. I'm going to post about it later on my Twitter and stuff. So I'll share the link and everything where people can try to see where I'm wrestling. I was like, I'm going to organize that all now because I was talking to my mom about it. She was like, I want to make a watch party for everybody to come over and watch you wrestle. And I was like, okay, Mom. So I'm going to share all of that information later on social media so I can make sure I know how to do it correctly because I'm still figuring everything out. But I'm going to be posting about it on Twitter, and my Twitter is at Billie Starkz, BILLIE, and then Starkz is STARKZ. And that's all of my social media, so you can check me out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Well, we'll get everything shared for you. We wish you nothing but the best of luck going over to Japan. We can't wait to watch you. We're so grateful that you came on, and we'd love to do this in the future with you again. But for the time being, stay safe, have a fantastic time on your travels, and hopefully we'll see you back on the show sometime soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.